All right, guys, here we are, Sunday mid-morning, November 12th, and we've had a little reshuffling of the count, to say the least. So a lot of volatility last night, big spike down on Bitcoin. Our stops are hit. We're out. Listen, I stand by my very sort of passionate stance yesterday that given that trade at the 618 with the stop so close underneath the 65 that win or lose, that is a trade that you have to take when it sets up like that. You just have to take it, and I would continue to advocate that if you take that trade every time that you see that kind of a technical setup, that you should expect to be stopped out more often than you're not, but given the very low risk, particularly in the buy at the 618, relative to the potential upside, you can get stopped out a whole lot of times. It takes a small percentage of those to go in your favor to compensate you for all the stops and to put you ahead rather than behind on taking those trades. So I will continue to advocate for that kind of strong technical setup whenever I see it. I can promise you I'll be taking it. So the damage should not be something you can't recover from. I mean, if I bought it at the 50 and the 618, and from the buy at the 50 to the 618, that was about 300, if I round, about $360. Spread there to the 6.5, and from the 618 front running on a few to the 6.5, about $125 spread there. So, nobody likes to get stopped out, but that's just part of trading. So, what do? Well, the market is revealing this count here now. We now are in a position where we can label it with more confidence since we have this new information, and try and get a handle on what's likely coming next. So, here I found this kind of interesting. You can see this trend line here, how consistently the market stayed with that all the way up to what is now labeled as our fifth of this move. So, given where we are now, I per my primary count, I have this as a completed 5-wave structure. And given the subdivision that we have here, most likely, as we sit here with this new low here just above the 50, this is our A wave, and we're going to put in some sort of a 3-wave B, and then potentially there's another push down to finish the C. But nothing says it has to go below the A wave, as we've seen repeatedly in crypto. We're seeing these shallow C waves. But right now, given where we sit, I would put the probability of a breakdown here, at least to these algo targets here, at around 5,000, which gives us a very critical pivot over here at about, let's call it 49.80. This will be the key pivot given where I have the primary count now. So let's mark that. I put these trend lines on here to show you both of these because the market has a tendency to come back and revisit these prior trend lines. So this was the support all the way, and you can see after we come back here on the snapback, we've come right back to visit that prior support. Perhaps that's a check. What I would be expecting here is that we're going to do something along these lines to put in an A, B, C of a B wave, and just pulling from high to low, you can see the first stop for the A wave was right to the 50 and the Vegas wave, right? So now we're coming at it from underneath. We come to the trend line to the 50 and we get the reaction. Now, where do we go next? Well, we'd like to see this now hold on this B wave within the larger B wave and give us a push back up here, and potentially that revisits the trend line again. So it's just a good idea to leave those up there until we either move past it or it offers you that potential resistance. And I'm not an advocate for shorting Bitcoin. I'm consistently looking for the next buy opportunity. I don't think that it's worth the. I don't think this is setting up here as a B wave to be buying into the larger B wave. I would want to see the market stabilize here and get some sense on where we are. I remain very bullish. I try to be as objective as I can, and let the numbers and the market and the probabilities speak for themselves. So I think what we need to do here is just go out and get a handle on the count. So let's what I've got here. Let's go to. I've got the weekly. So here's the same on Bitstamp, Bitcoin to the dollar. Here's the weekly count that I have. That's worth a look, right? So some things we can learn here. So here's that critical number, which I'm suggesting this we'll call it 4980. This becomes the critical pivot because I have this now as a one wave completed. So on the absolute largest degree here, from where Bitcoin's start here, or we'll call it roughly zero. Although I think the lowest I could get there was about $4. Here's our first one. This is our two. So I still have us moving higher. So I have this as a as an impulsive structure with a 3 potentially up yet higher, pushing up towards 10,000. So we can do some measuring to see if this count makes sense, because you know when you first look at it, is this a 3, 4, 5? How do you get a handle on this? So let's go back down to the daily and run some of these numbers and see what the numbers tell us and where the probabilities lie and why I've got this count. So I've got to scrunch it up here quite a bit here to give you the 1, 2. Okay, there it is. So if this is our 2 of the larger degree, we're trying to get a handle on the third. So can we get subdivision here from this low to validate this count here, completing the 1, as I have it here, of the larger third? Well, so the first thing we would want to look at is whether or not this is a valid 3. So how would we do that? Well, of course, we're just going to work from the market's historical pattern and the probability. So let's use our alternate price tool, and I'm just going down to this low here for my 2 low. You can get it right on it. And I'm going to go to my 1 high, and I'm going to project from my 2 low. And you see, the reason I have this labeled as a 3, we've gone right into the highest probability zone for a third wave, which is between the 1618 and the 175. I mean, we land right in the pocket there. So again, objectively, I can look at that and say, well, the highest probability is that is my third wave. So I maintain that until proven otherwise that that's a good 3. Well, if that's a good 3, then I can do some additional measuring. So I can look at the relationship between the 1 projected from the 4 to give me my projection for the 5th. So I do the same thing. So I take my low here to my 1, project from what I have labeled as my 4, and you can see it to the tick. We go to the 2618. Let me move this 4 off here so you can see that. So I mean it's absolutely perfect in a fib alternate price projections. Taking my 1, projecting from what I have labeled as my 4, I get an absolute to the tick hit for my 5th, which it leads me to believe that I've got a complete 5-wave structure here, completing a 1 wave. Remember, I'm a smaller degree here. This is the largest degree here in green, and I'm proposing that this is now a 1 wave given those relationships. This gives me the highest probability that I've got this count correctly labeled. Now, the market can prove that wrong. The market can invalidate this. But this now becomes a very critical pivot. If this count is going to hold, then this 1 wave, which here you see is 4980, excuse me, 4980, that has to hold. If this count is going to maintain this structure here and is not going to be relabeled, and that we don't, this doesn't end up being 3, 4, 5. Right now, the numbers say otherwise. So let's open it up a little bit more and see if that's the case. Can we double check here? So let's double check a few things. Well, if this is my 1 wave, I've come a long way, right? That's from 0 approximately to, I think I was drawing from about $4. That's from 0 to 4980. Well, I got to qualify this third because we know the third can't be the shortest wave. So if I look at that and I project, I got to scrunch up again. Okay, so there's my 1. So let's check it. So from my 2, low, if this is my 1 and this is my 2, well, there's 100% of the 1. So it just barely squeaks through. 7,800 was 100, as relates to Bitstamp, is 100% of the 1 wave. So I am not the shortest wave here. So this stands, this is per Elliott rules, that stands as a potential 3rd wave. It is longer than the 1st wave. Not by much, but it does qualify. So this count holds, right, with this being our key level here, this wave 1 high. We do not want that to be violated, or this count is invalidated. Until we see that, I maintain this as at least my primary count. We'll see what happens, but I think that's the best count given where we are now and looking for this to ultimately put in a 4 wave. Now, again, we're just going through basic numbers here, or basic fib retracements and projections given these dominant swings. So if this is a 1-2, and this is my 3rd, I'm going to pull up to that 3rd high. And what have I done so far? Well, I've just come shy of the 50. So given that, the potential is here that we could be going down for a 4 if we're going to go in the extreme. Now remember, for a 4th wave, the highest probability zone is between the 38 and the 50, and which was right where we've come so far. Now that's on this daily, that's a pretty wide range, right? So I'm not saying that was a buy, because we go back to the 4-hour. My best estimate is, given the 5-wave subdivision that we've had here, that this is just our A wave. So if indeed we're going to get an A wave down here, we're now looking for the B, and we certainly don't want to see that. We don't want the C wave to violate the 1 wave. But it's interesting how close that is to the 618. Right? So this is going to be the critical pivot over the next, I mean, the way it's moving right now, I mean, it could be 24 hours to could be 2 weeks. But this is a critical pivot. Otherwise, we're going to have to relabel again and consider that this is now a completed 5-wave structure, and we'll have to reevaluate given what the market is showing us and telling us at that time. Right now, I maintain this is the highest probability roadmap. This is my primary count. I'll be working on alternate counts today, but you can pretty clearly see an alternate count would be that this gets labeled as 3, 4, 5, and we're looking at a retracement of the entire 5-wave sequence. So right now we maintain that count until proven otherwise, and we're looking for some subdivision into a B wave with the expectation. But again, as I showed you before, nothing says we have to go down this far. Again, we've seen this. We've seen this in crypto. We've seen a lot of ABCs with a short C wave. So the video I did yesterday on Bitcoin Cash had this kind of a setup. So don't get locked into any one bias. Let the market reveal itself as it goes here. We've got really very, very technical trading. We've got very strong pivots. The math is all, the market is staying incredibly technical. This thing, the algos are all over this. This is likely at least on Bitstamp, this is the front run on the 50. The algos are not trading an Elliott wave. They're just trading off of the fib swing. So this is just a front run buy. Over on Hit Bitcoin, where I've been trading this, it was almost to the tick. So here's that entire 5-wave structure on Hit BTC, which I've been trading lately. From low to high, we're just a few ticks from the 50. So that's as I said this morning to my members, algos don't take Saturday night off. That's just a machine is written to buy that at the 50, and boom, right? So thus, this is this. So if we take, here, this is a 60-minute from the Hit BTC, right? So that's what we're looking for, and again, right back to that prior trend line, that now becomes resistance. So the expectation would be we're going to get some sort of push back down. We don't know yet that that's the A wave high, but likely there's a revisit down here to challenge those lows. If that holds, then the expectation would be a move back up again to finish the B wave. To finish the B wave here, and I've got this prior swing low as the one wave. You see this nice subdivision we had, which implies an A wave, because we're not corrected. We correct in threes, right? Not in fives. So because that's a 5, I can pretty confidently put an A wave on that with the expectation that I'm going to get a 3-wave B. Right? So very technical trading, but since I've been using this as our reference, now we watch here. So again, we came, let me pull it back this way. So let me take that off since that's no longer valid, and we have changed the count. So now looking here from this high to low as potentially the A wave, we've actually come to the 38. So if I move this off to the side, right, so there's that trend line coming back in at the 38, which could very reasonably be the A. This could well be the A of the ABC that we're expecting, with a pushback up here to the 50, which would be, again, competing algos would be selling there, with a push down here. Now note the 50 of this swing high to low. If this plays this way and we come back to visit the 50 here, the negative 23 algo target is right here within a few ticks of our critical pivot, right? This pivot here, this 4780. Interesting, right? Interesting that there's the target sitting right there a few ticks from that swing high. So, the expectation here is that it remains very technical, right? We know algos are all over Bitcoin. So the expectation would be we're going to come back up, visit this 50. That's what I'd be looking for, and then a final push down. Here would be the next big opportunity to be a buyer, if we see this, right there. There's your next buy zone. This, super aggressive, if you're comfortable selling it, there's your next sell zone right here at the 50 with a revisit to that trend line. Very reasonable sell. I don't sell Bitcoin. I just don't do it. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't, if you want to be aggressive there, because now of course, where's your stop, right? So you'd be on the other side of the 65 here, knowing that a B wave, right? So this is why I don't like selling B waves, because B waves can easily go up to the 786, right? So you'd be taking the loss there just off of the fib relationship, knowing well that it could maintain a B wave and then head back down for that C, because we see it all the time where a B wave can go up to the 786. It's a push to get back to the highs. If it fails, then you get a big reaction to the downside. All right, so that should give us enough to work with here going forward into the week. Interesting times indeed. All right, guys, I'll wrap it there.